everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on the season finale of Spy Family. I'm really sad. It's been such a long journey with this series. I started it way back in the summer of 2022, a little bit after it had came out. It came out in April, and I didn't get started on it until I think maybe June or July. But I've kept up with it week to week, all throughout the summer, all throughout the fall. And now that it's entering into 2023, I'm at the end of this season, and I would feel sadder about it, but it's been confirmed we're going to get a season 2 and we're going to get a movie, so it's not going away anytime soon. We're just going to be on hiatus from it, so that is really sad. I'm sad this is the last week, but as for what's taking this slot for Tuesdays, Vinland Saga season 2 is coming out, and so it's gonna work out. We're gonna roll right out of this show into Vinland Saga season 2 from there, so that's exciting. It'll at least take my mind off Loid and Yor being on hiatus, and Anya as well. But it does make me sad though, because these last several episodes have been so good. Like the last episode, I think maybe my favorite in the whole season, and it's just between Becky and Anya's adorable shopping trip to Loid finally breaking down and being Twilight and being himself around Yor. It's been really good. And then Fiona's character's been introduced. There's just been all this stuff go on that I've really, really been excited about. But we're at the season finale. How will we wrap up this one season? They talked about having us into the semester social. Is that going to be what this is? Is Loid going to meet Desmond? Is Anya going to connect with Damian anymore? It's a comedy, so it's gonna have some hijinks, but I honestly don't know how they're gonna round out this season, but I'm really excited to see it all go down. So I've got to remind myself, I was talking about looking at the lyrics for the OP and the ED, but the OP, we've had the English lyrics on it for quite some time. So I may look them up afterwards and just go over them with you all, the OP and the ED, because I feel like those have been up here for a while, but at least to talk about them, right? As we round out this season, at least look up the lyrics while we're doing the discussion and talk about the OP and the ED and what they mean and kind of interpret them, since we are going to be on a hiatus till season 2. But everybody's comments have been really good. I really enjoyed talking to them. Christopher Peterson and I were commenting this morning with episode 24, and I've been trying to be as neutral to Loid as possible. If I'm being honest, and I'm sure I said it in the discussion, I wasn't happy that he was so eager to take advantage of him thinking that Yor liked him and he was going to take advantage of it really quick. I was like, no, she's not like those other girls you've conned. This is Yor Briar. But I'm being as open-minded as I can with Loid, and I'm glad that she not only kicked the snot out of him to knock some sense into him, but later he kind of made up for it by lowering his guard and actually connecting with Yor. So I'm like, all right, Loid, you're off the hook for now. But I'm excited, y'all, to see what's going to happen this episode. I hope you all are as well. But let's not waste any more time, shall we? We are going to start episode 25 of Spy Family, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. That was really, really sweet. And that was like a really nice, heartfelt season finale. I'm glad that Damian got to see his dad, Donovan. I'm glad he got to see the Desmond man himself. And he's an interesting character. Kind of stereotypical baddie, but oh my gosh. Let me say, I love Damian. If you ask me who my favorite character in this show right now is, Loid and Yor are great, and Anya's hilarious, but Damian may be my favorite character. And I love Sylvia Sherwood. She's great, and her and Fiona are wonderful, but Damian's probably my favorite in the show. There's just something about his character, because Damian, he's very relatable, in that he's the younger brother that's living in the big brother's shadow, that wants recognition. He wants his father's affection, and his father is a busy politician that doesn't have time for him. And so you can relate to Damian on that regard. Damian also, he's not a mean guy at all. He's very tsundere, and he hides a lot behind this exterior of being like, he tries to be tough to like squash out the vulnerability that he has, and that he really is emotional and is very much saddened by the fact that he's not able to be with his dad, and his dad doesn't seem to care about him, right? So I feel for Damian a lot, and I root for his character because I want him to get like appreciation from his dad. But God, the whole situation with him and Anya, like, it could not be more hilarious because he has a crush on Anya and he wants to be Anya's friend, as he admits, and Emil and Ewan are like, what? You want to be friends with a girl? And he wants to be Anya's friend, but bless her heart, Anya, she's about as oblivious as Loid is when it comes to anything like that. And so she just thinks that she's helping out her dad for the mission if she befriends Damian. That's the craziest part about all of this, is that Anya is so much like Loid, and she's learned so much from Loid that she assumes that this relationship, it's the weirdest dynamic though, because Anya does believe that her dad loves her and she loves her dad, and she believes that her dad is really a father to her, but at the same time she knows that this is all a part of a mission, but she's only 5, so a 5-year-old can't grasp the concept that the fake part of the mission includes her in the family, and she doesn't get that. And so her befriending Damian, she thinks, is just for being part of the mission. So God, and Loid feeding the fire this episode, I was like, Loid, stop lying on Anya's behalf. No! Like, just... Because Damien gets all worked up. He's like, what did she say about me? What? And Lloyd's like, oh, she's kind of eccentric and, doesn't want to admit things. I'm like, Loid, you're putting words in your daughter's mouth. And that is gonna, oh my God, no. But man, we made first contact, as the episode is called, but it's not in the way that I imagined it to be at all. I do like the idea that they talk about this social gathering. You are now entering the Eden College social gathering venue. It's highly secured. Yeah, because it's there's all these dignitaries. It's highly prestigious. So they want to keep it all shut off. Like, he established that the prominent business figures, the scholars, engineers, artists, athletes, the cream of the crop, the who's who of Osteria are there. Of Ostinia are there. A handful of alumni, and then the family members of the Imperial Scholars. Mm-hmm. Which we don't get to see Demetrius. I'm very sad we don't get to see him, because I really want to know what he looks like, but I'm assuming we'll find out eventually. And then Loid in the old man get up, right? In the old man get up. He even had contacts to make his eyes a different color, it seemed. Yeah, but he's wearing like the same color scheme, the green. Infiltrating will prove to be difficult. Yeah, and I like that they go through in this episode every possible way that you could go about it. And there's not an easy way to get in. It's structured that it's pretty much, you only have one entrance, and it's heavily screened, so he can't put on a disguise. They'll whip that mask off and wig in no time. But he establishes the real problem. Getting into the place isn't the issue. It's getting in and meeting Donovan as Loid Forger. That's the problem. Because in order for this mission to work, in order for him to gain information, he has to be himself as Loid Forger, and he has to meet him and befriend him. And that's not something that's easily done. So he does use Damian in this episode. He uses him quite a bit. And for a second, I thought that Damian wasn't going to get in a conversation edgewise with his dad. But in the most roundabout way, Anya and Loid kind of give Damian that boost to like talk to his father and make contact with him. It's not just first contact for Loid and Donovan. It's also in a lot of ways first contact between Donovan and Damian. So his wife has got to be beautiful though, because I hope he does not take after his dad. Oh my God. Maybe he's like taking after the grandma or something, because his dad looks quite frightful, if I'm being honest. But yeah, the purpose is to interact and get on Donovan's good graces. They have to be able to talk. Mm-hmm. He can't use a disguise. That won't work. And I like that they go through all the different problems with that. Like if he wears a disguise as one of the other dignitaries and then he runs into the dignitary again, the dignitary doesn't remember, they're just going to bolster security and it's going to be even harder to get a chance with him. He can't bring a kid along because then that will look suspicious. He can't be a waiter because then he won't get to talk to Donovan. So there's all these different scenarios that just aren't going to work. Donovan is extremely cautious and rarely interacts. Can't imagine why. So he's like, my best bet is to interact with him as Loid Forger, but how do we do that? And so then they basically in class half a day early so that everybody can go home in preparation for the social gathering, right? The schools are going to be closed this evening, so leave immediately. Like, go back to the dorms or go wherever. I do like the continuity that we see some of these same characters again, like the little boy who has the apple haircut. We see him. And all these girls are fantasizing what the social gathering is like, including some of the other boy classmates too. They're like, there's going to be a cosmonaut there, all these celebrities. And I like he says, the actress Amy, like she's so famous we don't need to know her last name, right? And they like get all excited about it. And so then these girls, they go up next to Damian. The only reason they want to go, they want their parents to interact with Damian's parents is so that they can see the celebrities and go to the gathering. They don't really care about Damian or his interactions with his father or whatever. They just want the privilege of going, so they're using Damian. Anya doesn't care about celebrities or anything like that. She's just trying to help stop the evil boss and save and cause world peace. So that's the only reason why she wants to go. And she knows that she needs to use Damian to do so. It's like, but here's the thing. Anya also, despite, what's curious is that Anya, she's all about the mission, but she does know by reading Damian's mind, as Damian points out, he's going to figure out. Damian's going to figure out that she can read minds. He's going to know. If it's in season 2, I just imagine that he'll figure it out before the adults will. He'll be like, you can read minds. And she's going to be like, Rah! Like, But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wonder if that would foster their friendship if he figured out she could read minds. And he'd be like, stay away from me, stumpy girl. Don't read my mind. And she's like, but yeah, but she could use that against him too. If he figures out she could read minds, she can be like, I'll think about what you're thinking of and tell people. And he'll be like, no. And so she reads his mind and knows the conversation that he's had with his brother the night before. And right now he's thinking of like, the sad thing is he calls his brother. His brother has a very similar voice actor. I was trying to place who his brother's voice actor was, but I couldn't place it. And the first thing his brother says is, what do you want? Like, there's not a good relationship between Damian and his parents or siblings. Damian's very alone, which is really sad. And Damian apologizes. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Just, are you going to the social gathering? And the brother's like, yeah, like I have to. He's like, well, could you ask my father something for me? And he's like, I was wondering if I could see him after the gathering. Can you tell him that I'm going to wait in the courtyard for him? And then the brother's like, yeah, don't get your hopes up. He's really busy. Meaning he's probably not going to have time to see you. It's so sad because you're like, damn it. I feel like just his brother's just like, quit being an eyesore, get out of my face. And poor Damian is just like, I just want to talk to my dad for like 2 seconds. You get to see him. I'd like to see him too. It's really sad. And of course, Damian gets mad at them because he's just like, I don't want to talk to any of you. You guys are just using me. And he just walks away from them and yells at him. And all Anya gets from that moment of listening to him is she's like, so second son's going to meet with the evil boss today. It's like, girl, he just had this really sad conversation with his brother and that's what you took away from it? Of course. Of course it is. And Becky's like, you want to go shopping again? And she's like, no, I've got to sneak up behind him. Now, poor Becky, I feel bad that Becky seems left behind at first. But to be fair, Becky comes under the very false conclusion that Anya is just stalking him because she's in love with him. Not at all. But Becky has rendered herself under that assumption. And Damian's not stupid. Damian realizes that she's following him. Anya has about the same skill as Daybreak, so in terms of spying, it's a good thing she never saw Daybreak. But okay, I love that in her vision, we have Loid's vision of Anya, and Anya's vision of Damian in this episode. And in Anya's vision of Damian is like just sitting there with drool coming out of his face and snot coming out of her nose. And she's the intelligent, heroic one, and Damian's like really stupid. It's hilarious that she views him like that because he is not stupid at all. She's like, I'll follow Second Son and fight the evil boss myself. I'm like, oh, Anya, no, girl. And Damian's like, what are you doing? Stop following me. And then Emil thinks that maybe she's, and Damian gets so blushy around Anya. Like, he really likes her, but he doesn't want to admit it. And Emil and Ewan think that she's just following Damian to get into his father's good graces, like the other girls. And Damian's like, well, then that's what makes Damian mad. And Anya's like, that's not what I'm doing. And Becky's like, well, that's rude. And then he asked her not to come near him again, you creepy gorilla girl stalker. And Anya's like, I could punch him. Becky's like, please don't, you'll get expelled. Don't do that. And then Anya hears Loid talking, almost like, Loid, she's been so used to him, she picks up his thoughts immediately. She has filtered out all the others, but Loid she picks up so quickly because she's been listening to it this whole time throughout the season. And Loid suggests that plan B might mean dire straits. I love, she's like, Papa, and he's like, no, maybe she's trying to make up with him in her own way. And he's like, well done. I'm like, Loid and Anya are so oblivious of each other. It's kind of hilarious. But Damian, this is so sad. He's already going to the meeting spot. He's just going to sit there for hours waiting for his dad. Like, that's how badly he wants to see his father, is for that reason. And Loid is just like, oh, he's going to meet with his dad. And it's like, it's not that simple. And he's like, shall we get closer to the venue? And that's when Damian and them start seeing the other Imperial scholars, right? Now, the question is, the boy in front, I don't believe, is Demetrius, the one that has the butler behind him. There's one with the guy with the glasses and a haircut, and then there's two girls. But I don't know, is the one boy Demetrius? The one boy that's in front, that's like stalking through? He kind of has like red eyes like Donovan, and his hair looks more like Donovan. Maybe. I guess that could be it. He's just got a butler in front of him. I guess that is Demetrius, the boy with the brown hair. Because doesn't Damian have a similar hairstyle? It's a little bit different. And maybe Damian realizes that they're not there. He's like, your father's one of the top VIPs among all those. And then Damian realizes that he's not there. And of course, Loid's freaked out about it. He's like, oh, my dad's not here. He's very, very busy. There's no way he'd have time to bother me. And I love that Anya's like, she can read minds. She's like, Anya can tell because you're scared. You're trying to run away. And Damian is like, what's with her? Is she reading my mind? It's like, yes, she is. But then Anya hears him thinking that. And she's like, no. Anya does a great job of covering the fact that she's reading his mind, though. She thinks, like, on the spot, how do I misdirect this and confuse him and make him think of something else? And she does the whole story about knowing he got a bad grade on his test and relating it to her own test. Like, she just spins it around. Anya could be dangerous when she gets older, because if she knows how to spin things to misdirect, that could be legitimately scary if she got good at that, right? And she's like, you're scared your dad's going to find out how you did on the test. And she's like, I understand because I only got 70 points. And I love how Damian's like, do not lump me in with you. I'm not the same. But then she says, I'm scared because I'm not sure if my dad loves me or not. And Loid's like, what do you mean you're not sure? We need to rectify this when I get home. He's like, what do you mean you're not sure if I love you or not? And she's like, but I believe in him because I love him. And so I always show him my tests, even if they're really bad. She's like, I don't give up on my dad, and I know he's going to love me no matter what. So even if I do bad, I still show him. I don't keep things from him because I know that he loves me. And Becky's like, Loid is amazing. But Damian's like, oh. And then she's like, what are we talking about again? Anya has these little rare blip moments of brilliance. And then she's like, wait, what was that? Squirrel? Like, what? Like, She can be so on point and then she gets so spacey. But Damian kind of like, he gets the gist. He's like, I shouldn't give up on my dad. Like, if this stubby-legged girl can do it, so can I. And I love he just like blushes and walks away like, she had a good point, even if she didn't get it. He's like, this is dumb. Oh, I love it. But then, yeah, Anya's in the courtyard. And I love that she's looking over, and Becky makes the false assumption that Anya is going to try to get to know Donovan so she can ask for Damian's hand in marriage. And I'm like, oh God, Loid would probably be okay with that. Loid would probably be like, yes, you two get engaged. Got an end. It's for the mission. But Anya'd be like, what? No. I want, when they're older, when they are old enough to be shippable, I would ship Anya and Damian so bad because they're such polar opposites. It's amazing. And it's such a subversion because normally in a relationship like this, the female character would be like the super smart, quick, agile, like intelligent, hyper-thinking, hypercritical character. And then the guy would be like super brave, gung-ho, but like maybe a little ditzy. But in this scenario, Anya is the one that's kind of airheaded and is just like the brave one that's not book smart or anything at all. And Damian's the polar opposite. So subverting expectations. I love Becky's like, Martha, carry Anya to the car. Martha's like, yes. We're going home. I am sad that Anya got carried home, but it's probably for the better. And then Loid's like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And he makes the replica of the sheep keychain, and goes to see Damian, trying to, and that's how he's going to interact and talk with them. It's like, oh, pardon me, boys. And the boys all know who he is because they saw him at the family gathering at the beginning of the season. So they all know who he is. Like, I need to find that sheep keychain. Now, Damian found the sheep keychain and held on to it. That was Anya. So is Damian going to give it back to her the next day? I'm just saying, maybe. But they're like, oh, that must be... They're like, that's definitely her. It's definitely Anya's. Mm-hmm. And I love that he calls Loid old man, and Loid's like, old man? See, I need Loid and Damian to have some heart-to-hearts because I have a feeling that Loid can kind of understand the situation Damian is in. I want Damian and Loid to have some heart-to-heart conversations because Loid and Damian are not too dissimilar. They both are smart, super smart, but both kind of oblivious in the same vein. So I just imagine if they were older and Damian was trying to date Anya, Loid having like the father moment of being like, what's going on? But he probably wouldn't because he'd be like, oh no, Anya's fine. She can beat this guy up. No problem. Or Yor would be the one that'd be like cracking her knuckles being like, get her back by 10. Yor would be the one like with the frying pan in hand be like, if you don't get her back by 10, I'm going to make you breakfast. And Damian's like, I'm getting her back by 9. So, but yeah, this little moment here where like Loid talks to Damian and then like begs for his forgiveness. Loid puts it on really thick. Like he lays it on super thick to the point where if they weren't 6-year-olds, it may have been noticeable how much over the top it was. But Damian and them are kids. So to them, they're just like, oh. And Anya's kind of weird. So they're probably like, well, no, he's definitely her dad. They definitely take after each other. Mm-hmm. And then I love that we see Donovan and them coming. And Donovan's in the shadows under the bridge. And the other guys are illuminated. It's very, very creepy. But then Loid, he is buttering up, getting ready for the kill. And then Damian's like, oh, father. And man, when Loid's like, I'm sorry, Damian, but I'm going to cut into your father-son time. I'm like, I was afraid that this conversation he has with Donovan was going to not give Damian any time. And then I would have felt really, really bad for him. But he at least gets something in edgewise, right? But yeah, Loid, I'm Loid Forger. And he puts on the smooze. Loid puts on the charm to the point where there's a little tiny moment where Donovan like has this moment like, oh, oh, well, there's not a missus anymore. So, bisexual Donovan Desmond. First contact. So we get this one guy, he looks like Armin from Attack on Titan, that's like, oh, maybe we should go back Loid up. And I like that Sylvia, with her bedazzled rings, because she's like, I ain't getting rid of these. She's like, yeah, you can go do that and get captured and tortured if you want to, or we'll leave this to Loid. Like, I love Sylvia, not only is very rational like Loid is, but she also has a lot of faith in Loid. She knows that Loid's got this. And I'm like, good, cool. But yeah, we cut back to Donovan and them, and Donovan seemingly knows about what's happened. And he's like, oh, I just hadn't been able to take care of it. And the thing about it is that Loid, he's been studying Donovan, trying to know everything about him so that when he does meet him, he'll know what to say. And there's all these different things in the background. So there's like one that says, discuss Damian, discuss Anya, discuss the children, support his party, see how he reacts to anti-Western remarks, small talk about current East-West affairs, trade collectibles, discuss politicians you've treated, try to make him feel guilty enough to give in to a demand. That's really on there, right? Hospital director info, mention connections to the hospital, an enthusiastic greeting, start with a heartfelt apology, mention you're from the same province, discuss the mixer. Like, he has all these different networking, but that one down there in the corner, it's like, try to make him feel guilty enough to give in to a demand. That's getting in there real deep, right? Loid wants to know what his views on the war are and what his plans are. That's the ultimate goal, right? And so, yeah, he's sitting there trying to formally apologize. And Donovan's like, oh, so it was you. My staff told me about the incident. He's like, sorry about that. It's fine. And Damian's like, oh, he was worried about me. Oh. And Loid's like, oh, well, I'll bring you a gift to your house to apologize. And of course, I'm like, that should have been a red flag there, because of course Donovan's going to be like, oh, you don't have to do that. I'm a recluse. I don't want anyone near my house. No, I don't know you. You stay away. Right? But Loid's like, no, I insist. Let me bring a gift. And Loid's like, oh, like instant rejection. He's like, it was just a squabble between kids. And Damian's like, don't you care that I got punched? Like, do you accept that? And Loid tries to say that Damian's right, that he's like, I should apologize. And he's like, no, it's fine. Like, he instantly shuts him down, and Loid picks up on the fact that, no, this guy's not budging an inch. And he's like, I can't pursue it. Otherwise, I'll push him away. And then Damian's like, well, it was humiliating. My face swelled up. He's like, have some sympathy for me. He's like, why can't you get angrier for my sake? But then Donovan, like, breathes out, like, very heavily, as if to say, that's enough, the conversation's over, and Damian just stops. Like, that's all it took. It just took him breathing out heavily for Damian to be like, oh, no, never mind. Does not give you the warm fuzzies at all. And he says, never mind. And he's like, good. It's like, ugh. And then Loid says, no, you have every right to be angry. He's like, I'll lecture Anya to make sure it doesn't happen. He's like, but my daughter is rather eccentric, so I'm not sure what to do with her. I love that all three of them, the moment he says my daughter's eccentric and I'm not sure if it'll work or not, they're all like, guys got it rough. They all instantly sympathize with Loid as her dad. They're like, we understand, man. Must take after your wife. Yeah, which is funny because Anya takes after both of them. And I love that Loid, his vision of Anya is her like running aimlessly ahead of him with these wide eyes where he has no clue what she's thinking or doing. It's kind of hilarious. He's like, it's hard to control children. Raising a child is truly difficult. And Donovan's like, yes, you're correct, which is why I have someone else do it. He's like, and this line here, in the end, even the child that shares your blood is a stranger. It's simply impossible to understand what someone else is truly thinking. And that's so sad because he just basically says, like, I'm never going to be able to really connect with my kids. So there's that. It's like, oh. And his point of view is that people will never be able to understand each other. And Loid's like, that's why you're forcing other nations to their knees. Because you don't think it's possible to get peace. And Loid does a little bit of a consent here where he says, yeah, it's like just saying we can talk it out. That's not good. That's not idealistic, especially in this scenario. He's like, we can talk it out is nothing but idealism. It is sheer arrogance to think we can truly understand one another. But then he thinks what's truly important is to continue walking beside them despite that. Is that even if we can't understand them, that doesn't mean we give up on them, right? And then his example of the things my daughter says and does are truly a mystery to me. She has like a candy coupon, and she says, I'm going to free some candy hostages at the store with this coupon. Oh my God. And Loid's like, well, good luck with that. Like, he has no clue what to do in that situation. He's like, you do your best. But he says, I decided I would accept her regardless and try to find every opportunity to talk with her. Meaning, like, you should find every opportunity to talk with the people of Westalis, you know, though it doesn't always go well. Referring to negotiations, I won't abandon this path to obtaining information and gaining understanding. That's my role as an intelligence agent. So he's like, even if it's pointless, even if we truly can't get along, we still need to understand each other and talk to each other despite that. I thought when Loid put his hand on Damian's shoulder that the guards would like tell him to back off, but they don't. They don't. He's like, you made time for your son despite how busy you were. And Damian's like, oh. He's like, you do make a valid point. And Damian's like, oh, you came to visit me no matter your schedule. And Loid's like, I can see why you look up to your father. And then he lies. Tells a horrible lie. He says Anya mentioned this and he was spying at the school, so that's why he knows about the reports and everything. And he tells Damian that Anya was moved by his report. And we see Damian's vision of her like being like viewing him with sparkles, and then we see the truth, all lies. And he's like, have you seen his presentation, sir? And then Loid just like hardcore sucks up about it and just talks about how great it was and rambles about wanting to see his lectures and everything. And Damian's all like, quit talking about it. Quit embarrassing me. And that's when Donovan says, you're an interesting man. Forger, was it? And that's when they have to go. He's like, my, what a delightful moment that was in my busy schedule. Filing that away. And Loid's like, well, we're not getting any more. But he knows my name. We'll consider that good enough for now. And Loid's like, I've memorized his security team's faces and their builds. So, fun times. Loid got all the info he needed to gear up for the next time. And then Loid says, as Damian is a blushing mess, he's like, could you keep the fact that I talked about Anya a secret? And then he says, she can be quite the contrarian, which, okay, I'm pretty sure she doesn't actually dislike you. And we see everything through Damian's perspective, and in Damian's perspective, she's like a blushy mess, which it'd make me happy if you could be friends with her. Yeah. And Damian's like, I love the expressions, like the myriad of expressions where he's like, I want to be her friend too. And Emil and Ewan are like, what? And then Damian just can't take it anymore. He short circuits. Damian.exe has stopped working. And he's like, well, I'll try best to raise our status since she's a commoner to you. Oh my God. He's like, if you'll excuse me. And then he leaves. And Donovan's just staring at him. And then he asks Damian what he wanted. And at first Damian, like, he can't think of anything to say. And he, like, grabs his little shirt like he's just trying to think of what to say. It's so freaking cute. And then that's when he's like, you have to keep walking despite it. Like, go on, say something. And that's when Anya encourages him. She's like, I always show him my tests, even if they're real bad, because I love him. And it inspires Damian to talk about his prizes, his Stella, his bad grades, everything. And then Donovan says, well done. He's like, why did you come today? He's like, it was just a whim. Don't worry about it. And he says, continue to work hard and not shame the Desmond name. Oh, and his little face where he's like, yes, sir. I just want to hug Damian and take him with me. He's so freaking cute. So cute. So darn cute, y'all. I can't. And then they're like just sitting there yelling about, you did it. And Loid's like, well, the better their relationship, the better it'll be for plan B. Thinking back on Donovan. And they're just sitting there yelling about the Stella. And it's so cute, and Loid just staring at him. I couldn't help it, but I was just like, Loid, oh my God, I need the AU where they're grown up, and Loid and Anya are like looking at Damian, and he's like, what? You guys, this is all Loid's fault. If Damian and Anya end up together, it's Loid's fault because he told that lie about Anya. Oh my God. Oh my God. Which Anya doesn't really like Damian at all, which is kind of hilarious and sad. I want Anya to become friends with him. But I also love Becky's delivery for you, and it's Martha giving your Anya. It's really cute. Oh my gosh, y'all. Just. So let's look at these OP and ED lyrics. The OP lyrics, I want to see, we had the OP version and the full lyrics. The full lyrics, I probably realized I was able to find a trick to change yawn-colored days into movies. So turning like the boring into a movie, which is like in the OP, under the sky, which I can't get along. I always put my heart and locked it away. I put away my heart and locked it away. And that's how I've been living until now. Our melodies synchronized. Like just like locking away your emotions. Because everybody said that the OP is from Loid's perspective. So it would make sense that Loid has put away his heart, his emotions, locked them away. Alexander Q was talking about it's not just romance that Loid is kind of unsure about. It's emotions in general. And so he says, even if it's smaller than any other light in the city, I want a guiding light that I could find for sure. Placing a ribbon on each scene that my eyes picked out, I continue on my way home collecting them like souvenirs. Yeah, collecting these memories as souvenirs, right? And the seasons greeted me, and I even picked up a few tears. How should I begin to describe this home, the way this home you've given me? So Loid's like, despite sadness, whatever, how do I describe, you give me a home, how else can I describe it? And so he's like, I'm hurrying sometimes on this road to you, running. No, I changed my mind and walk on this road to you. Being like, sometimes I want to rush through the moments to get to you, and then other times I want to slow down and let it sink in, right? It seems things were supported to be this way. Every day just passes me by. I searched for proof that you were there, and the melody connected us. Oh, like just like seeking to find that song that connected them all together after the days have gone by. And saying there's no need to feel lost. And then I guess, what kind of journey did we take to find each other? Well, it's been a journey, an interesting one. While I know nothing of yesterday or your tomorrow on the way home, how many times have you gone through the downpour to smile at me? Oh, how many times have you suffered to make sure that I came out all right? Right? Oh, okay. And then we repeat the verses. And then repeat the verses. Okay. From a world further away than the moon. I like this OP being from Loid's point of view and talking about the idea, because this whole season, especially the second core, has been about Loid becoming attached to the idea of the family he's created and the home that he has, which is why Frankie's a little bit worried, because like we said in the comments, Frankie's kind of worried for Anya. Like Loid and Yor are adults. They'll be able to get over it. It's going to be heartbreaking if they split up, but they can get over it. Anya is a kid and is not going to deal with that well if they split from each other. So Frankie's kind of worried, like Anya's getting really in deep with this idea of this family that is all fabricated. And once the mission's over, like, is gonna fall apart. And it's like, so, what do we do with that, right? Interesting. But yeah, I really like that OP, and I like the idea that they've created this home and they're saving all these memories, right? It's just so perfect. I love that. But now, I have not looked at the ED lyrics at all, which is going to be fun. Because we have this here. The ED lyrics were never shown to us, translated on the actual anime. So, never ever take your eyes off the details, cause these adults are busy pretending to become something they're really not. Their eyes are still barely on us. A piece of pearl can be nickel and dime if it doesn't have a story to tell. Ooh, okay, so it's useless unless it has information to give us. Okay, our lives are just made up spinning in the marionette. Oh, okay, so we're just like puppets being used by others. Interesting. So is this because these adults, is this from Anya's perspective then? Is this Edie from Anya's perspective? She says these adults. So it sounds like, yeah, so the adults are pretending to be something they're not, like Loid and Yor, and then their eyes are barely on us. The kids, maybe it could be like, I think this seems like from Anya's perspective. Our lives are made up spinning in the marionette. Like we're basically, Anya's like, I know I'm being used for this mission in this case. In fact, every day we spend is a miracle, reaching out to each other as a matter of course. That's being warm-hearted. Is there anything lonelier than laughing a matter away? Even depressing nights can be colorful and variable. Oh, okay. So acknowledging that we reach out to one another, but we laugh off. I mean, kind of like the idea of laughing off the fact that, yeah, this family could fall apart at any moment. Like, that's such a lonely thought that you guys will all end up, like, alone together. Alone, despite what's been happening with you all this entire series. So, that's interesting. There's no life which is a bad life if you know how to pretend to be strong. But what you've been through and the fact that you were born cannot be erased. Your soft heart can be hurt by a badinage, but it's okay to stay being soft. You can stay as you are. There's no life which is a bad life if you know how to pretend to be strong. Ooh, okay. I like that. I like that idea of if you feign strength, then you can pull off anything, right? That could apply to Loid as well as Anya, honestly. The fact you were born cannot be erased. Yep, you're here in this world, so you can stay as you are. Okay. And then there's a repeat of that verse. Yeah, that's not wrong. If it was all about comedy, we wouldn't have gotten this far. Oh, that's a nice little, like, dig at the show, being like, we're not just a comedy. We got to have some emotional moments, too. Otherwise, we wouldn't get this far, right? Nice. We can go anywhere for distraction now. We are as oblivious as the light. There's no tears, which is wrong to shed. Okay, so interesting. Never ever take your eyes off the meaning. Yep. Go this way. Okay. We're all just made up spinning in the marionette. We are all a bunch of pretentious who's seeking happiness as we see in illustrations. Sensitivity is paint. It can be mixed. That's why it's no surprise that we are shining more than ever. Oh, interesting. I like that. I like the ED a lot for the second core. I like the idea that it's talking about making your life your own despite what you know about the system and how you may be being used, like doing whatever you can to get out on top of it despite that. That's interesting. Interesting indeed. I really like this episode. It was a nice season finale. It wasn't anything crazy or over the top, or like there wasn't a suspenseful cliffhanger to like be like, what's gonna happen next? It was very much like, okay, we've step one, we've made contact with Donovan, and we didn't have to do it with Anya getting Estella because that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna be curious how Operation Strix is gonna change in that regard to accompany that, and if Loid is gonna go all in on Plan B, the friendship scheme, now that he knows that he has an in possibly. But I'm just like, oh my god, Damian now is gonna be looking at Anya thinking a certain thing. She's gonna be like, wait, what? I wonder if she's gonna read Loid's thoughts and figure out that he lied about her, and she's gonna be like, why'd you do that? But Damian is deadly close to figuring Anya out, and I'm a little scared about it. I I don't know. I don't want Damian to know because I feel like he'll do something bad with that, but I don't know what else. What else can we do? Like I said, I'm very sad that this season has ended, but I'm excited because I know we are getting a season 2 and a movie. My only fear with the movie is usually the movies, when they come out, they don't stream for a long time and they're not accessible for a long time. So I really hope that the movie isn't anything that you have to know before season 2. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wait a while before I watch season 2. Because I would need to watch the movie to get it before watching the season. So I hope that either season 2 comes first and then the movie, and then we can wait for season 3 possibly while we're watching the movie. But if the movie comes first, we might be waiting a while. So we'll see though, right? So in any case, I am curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all enjoyed this season. This season of Spy Family has been so much fun. It's been a lot of laughs, and I am going to miss it while it's on hiatus. So we'll just have to find a new series that's funny to replace it. But it's probably not going to be Vinland Saga. I don't think Vinland Saga is going to be sunshine and rainbows. I just have a feeling. So we may have to find a series to replace Vinland Saga for the comedy and the feels this spring. So we'll see about that. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. And yeah, I hope you all have a great time while we wait for season 2 of Spy Family. Bye.